my name is Danielle from poweredreadings.com. Today's pick card reading is going to be about inner child messages. I've noticed in a lot of the readings I've done recently, there's been little inner child messages that keep popping up, so I just thought, why not just do a whole reading focused around that? Okay, so I just wanted to make a little note here about my cats in this card reading specifically. I don't know what was up with them, but every pile I think they were just like trying to run in, attack the camera, attack the cards, grab the crystals, like you name it. They just like had the ultimate zoomies this card reading, and I tried to just keep talking. If you've noticed in your pile that like there's just like a cat walking across the screen and sitting down, and I'm just reacting like nothing's happened, it's just because it just happened so many times, and I was like, okay, we're just gonna ignore them and then quickly move them out of the scene as quickly as possible. So that is what was up with the cats. Okay, as always, if you guys already know how to choose a pile, go ahead into the description box below. There will be a pile selection time. If you don't know, I'll explain it to you right now. So I always get people to do 4 deep breaths before picking a pile. It's really good for grounding yourself, and that way you can resonate with the messages easier and just be more grounded in your body. So you breathe down from above your head, the air, down through your nose to your core, and out through your mouth. We do it 4 times just because the first couple of times is a bit awkward if we're not used to it. And then usually by the 4th time, we've got it figured out. Right, and then from there, you're going to look at all the card piles, and you're going to ask yourself the question that I'll have written there, and then you're just going to kind of focus on each pile and see if one just catches your eye right away, go with that one. If there's a crystal that catches your eye on a certain deck, go with that one. If there's, like in the timestamps, if you see a number that just stands out to you for some reason, that's also another way to pick a pile. And then some people do pick 2 piles, not just 1. I do try to avoid taking more than 2 because at that point it becomes a bit too much, a lot of information coming at you. Yeah, so I'm just going to give you time now to take your 4 deep breaths and then pick your pile. And I'll see you guys in your readings. Hello, pile 1. All right, let's get started. Right away, I want to talk about how your inner child and your relationship with your inner child is affecting your romantic partnerships. I believe this pile is already with a partner currently, or if not, you're in the process of trying to start like a relationship with someone. And what I'm getting very strongly from your inner child or children, sorry, I'm thinking about addressing a group here, is that it's really time for you to start taking action. And what this is going to do is stop tensions in your romantic partnerships, like triggers, miscommunications, where I just want to say, like, for example, sometimes you might have found yourself arguing over things that didn't really make sense to you, or you're not even really sure why you're so angry about it when you think about it after. Like, it seems like a weird thing to have argued about. Those kind of situations you think are going to stop happening when you reconnect with your inner child. So the way that I keep kind of getting the message is that it's time to take action, and it's gonna help with your romantic partnerships. And I want to say there are some suggestions here on what to do in those romantic partnerships. It's saying it's really important for you to have an open, honest conversation with your partner on how you and them communicate, like what your love languages are. Here I see that there is quality time and then the gifts, which are two love languages. If you haven't heard about that, I would recommend looking into it. There are 5. Usually people will have one main one and a really close runner up. And I can't tell if quality time and gifts are yours or if one of them is your partner and one of them is yours. But I think what it's really saying is that it's really important for these relationships to start being less friction filled, is to have an open conversation and reflect on what love languages you each have. So you might not have it all figured out in one sit down talk. So if you've never like talked about love languages, it might take a second to be like, okay, let's look into this. What does this even mean? I do believe there's like online tests for it, but it's gonna go pretty far. And I know that's kind of off topic from an inner child thing, but I think your inner child gets triggered when these needs aren't being met. Because, like, for example, if you don't feel like you're ever having genuine one-on-one time with a person or deeper interactions where you're connecting and they're not just like in group settings or doing sports or other things that don't involve really connecting, they're more just like fun things that you do, which are still great, but maybe you're not really like coming together and getting on the same page. If you need that as a love language and you're not getting that, your inner child is going to come up and react, and you may or may not be aware of it happening, or like that all of a sudden you don't mean to say something kind of snippy, but it's coming off. I want to say the word snippy, or it just comes off more aggressive than you even thought it should. And it's just saying like these are the moments when your inner child is reacting and responding on your behalf because it's gotten triggered and defensive and it's trying to protect itself. So having that conversation, I think, is going to be amazing for you. And I'm just trying to see what else. It's like we are going to get more into your own inner child, but it's like really wanting to address this romantic partnership right now. I do believe the person you're with is a soulmate. Why say that? Well, one, I feel like this is like a really deep learning relationship, which usually soulmates have, like things where they help each other transform. And I just keep seeing these swans here, which is so interesting because to me, they represent angels, protection, soulmate, love connections, and it feels very good. Even though I feel like there's been these tensions, everything around this love partnership feels like it's a safe, loving, secure relationship. And I think it's going to really transform. I also see a lot of signs I use for transformation. I know some people see swans as transformation, butterflies are transformation. Just even like this card is like transitioning from like one thing to the next. I think this is like, despite this maybe sounding like a lot of work, I actually feel like this is really exciting. Like, this is just going to change everything. I think sometimes you guys are very confused. And this is, sorry, now we're going away from the romantic. I feel like I'm dripping all over the place, but there's just a lot of like really strong messages that they want to make sure that I'm saying. So I might just go back and forth between this romance and your inner child's messages. And it is saying, I think because of your current disconnection with your inner child, it is blocking you from being able to see in things clearly or situations clearly and trust your gut. there is like a block in them both. So if you care about chakras at all, what I'm seeing is that it would be a block in your crown chakra and in your third eye. I think you guys are actually pretty spiritual, or you're getting into the spiritual, because there's also a lot of things here saying that you're just starting your spiritual journeys, that you are protected, a lot of signs that it's angelic forces that are trying to guide you. I would just say straight up the angels, because I see a lot of their symbols, and the fairies. I think you guys really, really would connect well with fairy spirits. Yeah, they're very fun loving and easygoing. And I also think it could be because of the inner child work that they really want you to do, that they could be showing up because they're very playful. They love working with inner child energy, and they really love getting people outside and just like finding the fun and joy and just life and all it's the crazy things that are just naturally created. Yeah. And I definitely think you guys are like, I even see this like the pearl, and it seems so important. And it's just saying that through your own personal journey is how we gain the most inner wisdom. And if you're, I feel like you guys are very, what's the word I'm looking for? You like to learn, you like to get better and grow. And I think they're just saying like this whole process of reconnecting with your inner child and understanding it more is really gonna give you more wisdom than you could ever have imagined by reading any book or listening to any podcast or taking a course. It's just through your own, like, I want to say meditation and time to just sit with yourself and have compassion for yourself, that you're really going to learn a lot. And it actually also does make me think that this is like a really good soulmate relationship. Like, I don't want to say this is going to be true for everyone, but I do believe like this person that you're with could be like a like forever partner, or like a very many years partner. Everything feels really, really good about it. And it's just saying like you do have to take the steps though. And like I did see like the theme around this is like, are you consistently showing up? I think it just means that even when it's uncomfortable, it's okay to like not feel good about something, or be scared of something, but like still showing up and being honest and vulnerable. You're gonna get there, you're gonna figure it out. And I kind of mean that with both the inner child and this romantic partnership. uh so where I want to go with this is like, your inner child is really wanting you to hold space for it. And if you're not really sure what that means, it's like saying it's wanting you to be compassionate towards them, to hear them and their feelings, their beliefs, support them, and have a very gentle, loving parent energy. This part of you didn't get this kind of compassion when they needed it when you were younger. And to heal this now and to grow out of these fears that it has, this inner child has, it needs you to almost be the parent that you didn't have, to really be able to support and hold space for this inner child's fears and their needs, and to really just have a really kind, gentle, empathetic approach to it. And you know, it might sound strange, but I feel like it's just like that inner child's emotions and feelings and beliefs have all been bottled up, and no one's been there to hear them or correct them, or kind of explain to them that they are worthy of love. Like, you hear them. I think there was a big block there with not being heard or speaking out as a kid, and people not understanding you or really listening to you. And it's really just saying,
through you giving yourself space to voice that, I think these fears and these triggers are really going to loosen up, and they won't be so prominent in your relationships anymore. And I think for you guys, they really come up in your romantic relationships, which is totally normal. It's 100% normal. And I really am like excited to see how like more you're going to be able to trust your intuition. And that's, it seems strange, but it's really going to go far. It just gets rid of a lot of confusion and fog in the brain when you're trying to make decisions. You'll just be more connected with yourself, and you'll know so much faster about what it is that you want and why you want it, and it's going to feel really good. I guess it's easier to say that now, but yeah, and I think you won't feel so uncertain towards the future. And yeah, I think you're just really gonna transform. I just want to keep using that word. Everything's gonna change for the best. Hmm. And then I do believe it is important to address this inner child because it's giving you a little bit of a worthiness block where it didn't quite feel like it had value or it was important or worthy of love. And I think you holding space is going to help you, your adult you, feel more worthy and deserving of receiving things. Could look at a lot of different ways. I think for you guys, when someone could say something to you, it could hurt you deeper than people think it does. I should also add, like with this group, I really think a lot of people look at you and they think you have it all figured out, that you're just like really, you're just there. It's like you don't need any help. You don't really need support. You're just so put together. But on the inside, I think you guys don't feel that way at all. But people just don't see that. And I think that could be why there's an over occurring message again and again here saying you guys are protected and you're safe. On all levels, I see like the angels are really popping up a lot. I think in this partnership, they're saying you are safe. It's okay to be vulnerable and to really just take action and take power now. Uh, Empower yourself, I think is the word I'm trying to say. Empower yourself to start going deeper, and don't be afraid to get uncomfortable. I just want to keep saying that. I know I already did, but it's just like saying it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay. Like it's just goes so much further. Like I'm just, it's funny. I always get things intuitively, so I get like knowings and I have a hard time like expressing in words, but I just feel so good where you're going to be after all this. And really like a time of releasing and bringing in a lot of good for yourselves. And I just feel like this partner is going to finally understand you and like really get you. And it's going to be really good. I feel like they've been wanting to support you, but you haven't like felt safe ever being that vulnerable, so they just don't even know how to. And I just feel are so eager. They like want to be a strong, healthy support system for you. I guess I keep going back to um like healthy masculine and healthy feminine, and I feel like they really want to be able to hold their their energy like that in a healthy way. I feel like there's going to be men and women getting this reading. So I want to say like for some of you it would look like a female being able to hold space for you to be vulnerable and have compassion for you, or as the male partner, I feel like they just want to be able to be that strong structure who can hold the container for you to be yourself. But they're both very similar energies in being like they just want to be the healthy masculine or feminine energy and create this container or space for you to just be you. And I think this person feels really loved and valuable when you let them do stuff like that. Like I almost want to say they have like an active service love language, but I you don't know for sure. And like I guess the thing with acts of service is I notice a lot of times it comes through with a need for verbal like affirmation, saying like they didn't do the service but they want you to tell them that you appreciated the service, because otherwise they're not really sure if you even noticed them doing you the service. And if you're like, what does that mean, I think they like might do tasks that to you are tedious or to most people would be tedious, and they do it because they love you and they're like, this would just make her life or his life so much easier, and I really want this to be done for them. And yeah, I could be so wrong there, but I just went way down that hole. So if that resonates, go with that. um Anyways, we're gonna go back to the main part of this reading. um I think some of you, so if any of you have ever looked into totem animals or kind of like the shamanic practices or Celtic practices, I think you should maybe consider like calling on, like people would call on an angel. I would consider calling on like the swan spirit, because I just, every time I want to leave the swan in this reading, I want to come right back to it because it literally embodies all the meanings that I want to keep talking about in this inner child reading. The one with the, like, to me they symbolize like soulmates, and to like, it's like more than just soulmates. It's like they symbolize like you connecting with, on like all levels, like soul, body, and mind, with this soulmate. And that's such a beautiful energy, and I think that's where you want to go with this partnership you're in. But there just has been some blocks, which is just totally natural and like the lessons of life. But it feels really good to move and have those connections for you guys. And as soon as I said it, I literally just say, I feel like it's going to take you from this place where there's a lot of like triggers and tensions and like weird fights that are happening that aren't necessary, to this place where you're just so aligned with each other. To, I think like some of you are going to get married with this person, and I don't know how long that sequence will take. They don't tell me that, but they're just saying like that's like the direction it's heading. If you can start working on this inner child, address these love languages, and kind of get some of these miscommunications out of the way. Also with the swan, they really call on you to embody your feminine intuition, and men and women have both energies within them. The feminine intuition, I don't know, that just always just feels like a stronger intuition. And I don't mean to be rude to men or anything, because they obviously also have this feminine energy within them, but I just feel like the feminine energy is more intuitive, if that makes sense. So I just feel like it's like a really deep form of trusting your intuition that it will bring in. It is also a sign of the angels and protection and safety, and spiritual growth. So, honestly, so yeah, if you're called to having animals as guides for a period of time, not forever, it doesn't have to be forever, it can be if you want. Or if you see swans, if you see them, it's just like a confirmation or a little reminder to that this is all possible, this is all coming in. Yeah, I just really feel good about swans for you guys. They're also very pretty birds, they're very elegant. Yes. I also feel like you guys are like very attractive people. So that could also be where the swan also comes in, is like they're very like graceful and seen as like a beautiful bird. And I feel like you guys are like, there's like this picture of you, this image of you being elegant and graceful, and I think very desirable for other people. And that's also why they think you have everything figured out. You like look good, so they just think you are good. And it's not that you're not, it's just, it's crazy how sometimes we can't believe that people perceive us one way when we just feel like a mess on the insides. I'm not positive, but I feel like a lot of you in this file feel that way. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. Oh, I did want to read the cards. I'm sorry if you find that annoying, but especially with these ones, I'm just like, oh, they say things in wiser words than I ever know how to speak. So let's see. It says, do you have a broken heart? Are you feeling unloved? Take the time to nurture yourself and know you are loved by the divine. Open your heart and have more compassion for yourself and others. Take a long bath, drink plenty of water, to nourish yourself. I should just say on a side note of water, and if you ever hear, like I've said it a few times in readings about water being really important, and I know a lot of other people talk about it, but one of the things that I learned the other day was that one of the reasons why, there's many reasons why water is so important, is that our energetic body, I believe it was our meridians, that energy system doesn't actually have a heartbeat. So if you don't move, if you don't drink water, nothing pushes that flow of energy around. And that's how you can get like these weird blocks in your body. And I don't know, when I like read that, I was like, oh my gosh, this kind of explains everything. Like why people do get weird blocks more, it seems, when they don't move at all. That being said, too much stress is also bad, but it just, I don't know. If you're wondering why people always say water, to me, that just, there's so many other reasons, but that one right there really resonated with me. Maybe it'll resonate with you guys about why it's so important. Don't want those blocks. And you want the energy to circulate properly within your whole system. Okay, next one says, do you realize that you are magnificent? Believe in your magnificence and embrace your power. Know that you are strong enough to see boundaries with others and assert yourself in a loving manner. Allow yourself to be who you truly are, a loving and magnificent being. So actually, as soon as I start reading that, I'm like, oh, this is I think really what your inner child is feeling. Like not worthy. When I was saying that, I think it's like they just don't know how great they are. And when you don't know how great you are, you don't set boundaries sometimes. You don't honor yourself and your energy as much. And I don't want you to think I'm like being mean or anything towards you because of that. I'm just saying that I see it so often because so many of us, I think maybe just in our generations, hopefully it's gonna get better, we just didn't have the emotional intelligence in our society to teach people how to raise kids with more compassion and gentleness. Doesn't mean you can't discipline your children. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, like, people would always say suck it up, or like there was all those really horrible expressions that I think are still used, like I can't remember it now, but it was like the best child is like one who's not seen or heard, or is only seen but not heard. I've heard so many different like play on words on that. Stuff like that is horrible because that created a belief system within you, like that right there. Like to not speak is better than to make a noise because no one cares about what you have to say. Like that's so horrible. I feel like there's so many things like that that we don't realize until we go and sit with ourselves. It really impacted us. Okay. Let's see what else. Okay, so I do see a little purple. Usually that means to me that you might have a block with letting, like, maybe like a wounding with your spiritual background. It could be your religious upbringing. It could be that you're very spiritually gifted and you're a little bit scared to like open up fully to that. I think with this group, I think the problem is general reading. There's too many different reasons why. I think a lot of it is around the inner child lack of connection, where you can't trust your intuition. But that being said, I do still want to address it for some of you who that might resonate. I think a good way to start, and I actually would just recommend it for the whole group, protection is so important. To shield yourself with a purple bubble in this group because that just keeps out psychic attacks, like gross energies. So if you work in like a really busy place or service industry, it's just best to have it. And I usually would recommend purple because it is the color you use for psychic attacks. It's also Archangel Michael's color. And I think it will also just help, like, if you're scared of seeing too much and things like that, it just will keep that stuff away from you. Yeah, that was just a really quick note. It's like it's not the focus they want on it, but I think it's still important to mention. Oh, I actually can't remember what a peacock means. I used to know it. It comes up a lot. So maybe if you guys could, after this reading, Google spiritual meaning of peacocks, it could be because the meaning I normally remember it as is not applicable in this reading. It could be that you need to go Google it and you'll each get your own one that pops up. Water. Yeah, water does seem to be theme here. I think you people might just be people who like the water, or water sports. Water does help you feel more grounded, like as an overall rule. So that could also be why. It might just make you feel safer, more grounded, more supported. I think what else I have to say here. So I guess back on the note of the pearl, pearls do mean that abundance is coming your way, so that's pretty exciting. And then this card here with the wisdom of the, I can never say that word, magi, I don't know. Sorry guys, I'm really bad at speaking in English. So yeah, it's not that funny, but it's just true, so I laugh. Okay. He also means that like right now is a good time, something's on its way, something's coming. It could just mean that like you're growing in wisdom now, or there's a career advancement coming. I think it could be the relationship advancements, but I do feel like this is a broad group, so I keep being told by spirit, don't narrow it off because it is going to be applicable for different people, each message. Yeah. And then I guess they just want me to touch base again on making sure that when you're connecting with this inner child, to be gentle with yourself. I like almost want to ask you guys if you've ever noticed maybe sometimes you're very critical on yourselves, or if you do something and you're like, oh, I'm stupid, that's dumb, why would I do that, anything like that. They're like saying it actually is really reinforcing those beliefs on your inner child, on your inner self, of those beliefs you had as a kid. And it's like kind of making it worse. It's not done intentionally, it's literally coming. It's funny, like it's just like a weird cycle where our inner child believes that because it doesn't know any better. No one's really gone in there and addressed it and hold space for it. So then it comes out in our adult selves. And then when we're thinking, we bully ourselves like our inner child was bullied as a actual child. I don't know if you can see what I mean. Like it's just like this weird cycle, and it just keeps going on until people realize it, address it, and then start to go deeper. And I hope that made sense. In some ways, I feel like I'm just rambling now, but they're just saying, yeah, it's really important to have compassion. And they almost are like saying, try Googling the word compassion, because I think it's one of those words where we think we know what it means, but then if someone was like, what would that look like to have compassion for someone or show yourself compassion? Some of us are like, it's like to be compassionate. We just use the word again. We don't really know what it means. And I'm like, sorry, I also have said to Google so many things, but I just always feel like with how the universe works, when you Google it, you will find the right answer for you, versus if I went and Googled it, I would get my answer, and then that might not be the one you needed to hear, or the exact wording you needed to hear for it to really resonate with you. So I'm going to say Google the spiritual meaning of peacocks and Google what it means to be compassionate to yourself or for yourself, or just the word compassion. Yeah. Trying to see if there's anything else here. Okay, I keep thinking I'm seeing a pumpkin here. So I guess they're giving me a time. I think if you guys are doing this inner child work, it's gonna impact really quickly. Like this video is gonna be releasing right before Halloween. So I'm like wanting to be like, well, can it really be that fast? But if some of you see this right away, I honestly think like they're saying changes and gentleness within and more harmony within your relationship is gonna happen like quick. Like in the fall season, which I mean, here it's almost winter, so whatever that means to you guys. I don't want to make I never like to give exact dates because it's so hard to say, especially in general readings, but the pumpkin, I don't know, something important about a pumpkin. Maybe you guys are gonna carve pumpkins together and have a great talk. I don't know. Hard to say. Spirit does some weird things and has some weird messages, so just pumpkin. Okay. uh yeah, I also have to mention, I don't know why, like, Spirit's really big on full moon ceremonies. There is also gonna be a full moon. I think the day this releases on the 25th. Um, yeah, and sorry, it's gonna be a new moon on the 25th, and they're really big on it. And I think it's just because they're really trying to teach us all that we can best manifest things in and release things that we don't need with the lunar cycle. And it kind of makes sense even on like a science based way of seeing things. Is not sure I was I don't know, it just was important to say something about that. Like, just think about the physical aspect of the moon being closer and not closer, and where it is in relation to the sun. It's just, it makes sense to someone out there, so take it or leave it. Okay, I think that's all I have for you guys. I'm noticing I'm really rambling, and who knows. Oh, actually, sorry, I lied. I should really address this card because I wanted to read it so badly at the start. Okay, so it says, am I consistently showing up? And on the back of this card, it says, journal where you can be more consistent in your life in alignment with your soulful goals, then show up. So that's like, if you're into release writing, I would really recommend doing that, because I feel like a lot of stuff can start coming out, a lot of reflections and a lot of new awarenesses. And that's always really great to come up with on your own. Okay, I find it empowering, I should say that. It's not that you can't have support systems. Support systems are important, but I feel like sometimes when you do release writing or journaling, you gain awareness that feels more powerful because it came 100% from you. It feels more like your personal truth that way. And then I'm just going to read this last little bit before you guys sneak away. So it says, some trade their dreams for comfort, yet comfort is the enemy of progress. Success requires showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it, and even when it feels uncomfortable. It takes guts and an endless vision to stay consistent to your dreams. I think that actually sums up pretty great this reading. Yeah. So I'm actually pretty excited for this group. I'm like so excited for this relationship for you guys. It feels so good. It's like that partnership that everyone really wants or hopes to someday attain. And I think you're like pretty dang close to it. So that's really awesome. Doesn't mean that there won't be like hiccups along the way, but I think overall it's just gonna be a very divinely guarded connection, we'll say. That's what I'm gonna leave you guys on. So, okay, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you around.
Welcome back, guys. I hope you enjoyed your readings. I just wanted to take this time to let you know that I really appreciate it if you leave a like or a comment, just so I know that it's resonating with you and it's helping somebody out there. And if you want, you can always follow me on Instagram or Facebook. I do a post a week just about some like fun, extra additional spiritual information. Honestly, it's all about all sorts of different topics. So yeah, check it out if you're interested. And if not, yeah, I hope you guys have a good day.
Hello, pile two. All right, let's get to it. This is gonna be perhaps a very specific reading. I think there's like maybe gonna be, this is gonna be for maybe 2 people, maybe 3. um, but it is very important to make sure you hear all this. I'm gonna try my best to communicate it in a clear way. And I'm saying angels, not inner child. I am getting the impression that you're in a current state right now where you are not able to connect with your inner child because you're in a survival state. So the message that I'm getting here is that you're feeling trapped, imprisoned. I feel like I see that you guys are just it's not even that you're necessarily giving too much. I feel like people are taking too much from you. And I feel like I see two scenarios. I see either like this very controlling, narcissistic, manipulative parent, I want to say mother, or I see that some of you are in narcissistic relationships with a male partner. And I know it's not maybe best to say genders, but I'm pretty sure those are the two I'm seeing as the mother or a male partner. And it's gone past like you just being an overgiver. I feel like they're just taking everything. You feel very trapped. You feel caged. It doesn't feel great. And this also feels very specific. I feel like some of you have thought something about fire and ending things with fire in a certain way. Like I see um like an accident even occurring with fire. I'm not totally sure. I just know that fire is really important, and the angels are telling me that you are coming to the end of a cycle where you felt very stuck and you felt very imprisoned. And it's coming to the end. Your guides and your angels are going to help you find an opportunity to get out, to leave it all behind. And that being said, they're just saying they've been giving you signs, but you haven't been seeing them. And I think it's probably because you're too tired and exhausted and too caged in survival mode to be looking for angelic signs. But they're saying they have been trying to give them to you. If you see multiple animals, look up their spiritual meanings. I feel like you guys might see lots of foxes, owls, or raccoons. And I think you might have played it off thinking everyone sees these animals all the time, but they don't see them as much as you do. And I don't think you realize that. So they're saying, look up the meanings. That's one way they've really been trying to communicate with you that they're there. So if you're like asking, when is this going to happen? I feel like the angels are saying as soon as possible. Like they are trying to maneuver a way for you to find a way out. And when you see it, take it. Just run. I hope that makes sense to you guys. They're saying it's like it's time to take action. Now is the right time. You need to take your power back and get yourself out of this situation that has you feeling caged and or trapped. Yeah, I feel like that's all I really have for information around that situation. Other than I keep coming back to, they keep saying, like, look at what you're sacrificing for love. And I feel like they're saying, like, you feel that it's love, but it isn't true love. True love doesn't feel this gross. And that is for both dynamics, this parent figure or this partnership. And then look at how they are loving you back, and maybe that way it will like help you see the inequalities there and the imbalance there, that you deserve better than that. Yeah, I sorry, I just have to touch base. So I literally see this card as like there's an eagle offering you an olive branch. Like it's literally, in my mind, it keeps saying it's they're gonna offer you a way out. An eagle is very important in like that Native American culture, and even in just any sort of animal reference book. They're always about spiritual development, spiritual growth, ascending to a better situation. It's just really feels like they're gonna find an opportunity and a way to get you out, and just you really got to take it. Yeah. And then so they're shifting the focus to, once you're out of this, you are going to find yourself on a path that holds so much abundance, prosperity, and love for you. This like new path is going to feel like a dream, something that you've honestly thought and wished and wondered if it was possible. They're like, it's going to be all that and more. You're going to feel so free. And then from there, you're really going to be able to have the time and the space that feels safe enough for you to reconnect and heal yourself and find out like who you are, like who are you as an independent individual, and that you are able to be independent. You don't need these people. If they've ever made you feel that way, it's just part of the whole manipulative, gross yuckiness that they've put on you. You are so strong and able to do all of this. You've even like managed to survive this situation, them. Like, not everyone can do that. The angels are just definitely very present in this reading. They say like again and again, you are not alone. If you look for them, you'll see that they've been there always. That you're so important to them. They care about you and they want to help you get out of this. And I think maybe you've known that, or maybe you haven't really even thought that they could be there for you. Like maybe they're just out for someone else. But I even see like fairies. They really like are trying to help you and support you. They're around you a lot. And they all really just want to see you get back to who you really are, to like this fun, lighthearted, not so serious, because you don't have to be person. And I don't feel like there's anything here saying like it's your fault, you like neglected anything. I just honestly keep feeling like how you could just never do inner child work in this situation. You're like still living through the trauma that does eventually become our inner child, if that makes any sense. Like, I think you guys couldn't possibly work on it because you're still, I don't know if that's making any sense. Like, once you're out of this, it's going to be a long healing process, but compared to what you're coming from, it's gonna be nothing. It's like it's gonna hurt a little, but I feel like at the end of it, I just feel like you're gonna feel so free, and the joy and like the love of life that comes from feeling freedom is unexplainable. It's, I don't know, it's just so empowering. I don't think if people haven't been in a situation like this, they ever truly understand the meaning of freedom. And you will soon. You will soon. It's like a call to find your passion again, your empowerment, your yourself. And there is a lot to do about moons. I think they could be encouraging you um to follow the lunar cycle a little bit. It is really good for releasement, and I think once you're out of this, you're gonna have a lot of things to release. But use it even with like getting out of the situation, using like the moon to help you get rid of this is really gonna be good. Just look at this moonstone, and I should just say like butterflies are a huge sign of transformation, and you guys do have them. So I just feel like I see like being in this dark gloomy place, and it's just gonna completely transform to this dream world. And I just keep saying dream because I feel like you guys just have never experienced that much goodness to refer it to anything other than that, like a dream that you've always just wanted. So this card says it's moonstone, which is a crystal that maybe you could benefit from having. It does come in a few different colors. This one says orange, but the moonstone I know is always white with like a rainbow shimmer to it. Okay, so it says, are you in tune with the phases of the moon? Do you acknowledge your own cycles? Trust that your feminine side has much to offer. Go within to receive inspiration from the divine feminine. Your feelings and intuition speak the truth. Listen. So what really speaks out to me that's important for you guys is the last sentence there where it says, your feelings and intuition speak the truth. Listen. I think it really means like if you're going back and forth on this situation that you're in, like you know in your body how you feel. And I think from what I know about narcissistic relationships, which is what I think both these partnerships are, your mind gets so confused and it just doesn't know when you're being unreasonable. And when you think you know you're not being unreasonable, they make you feel like you're being unreasonable. Anyways, they're saying try not to overthink it. Just feel in your body the truth that you know it's right. It's so right. This person will never be able to say that to you that you're right, but you are. Yeah. And sorry, so the affirmation it says, I honor the phases of the moon. I am aligned with the natural cycles of all life. My feelings are valid. My feelings are valid. I receive and use my intuitive insight. I trust my inner knowing and act on my feelings with confidence. I really feel like that second part is very important. This like whole my feelings are valid. I receive and use my intuitive insight. I think that just really goes to say like try not to think about it, just feel it, which is a really hard thing to maybe understand, but if you think about it too much, I think this is where this negative attachment and person starts to get in your head and you get confused because they've just really done a number on making you feel like you're the one who has the problems, but it's not you, it's them. They're the unhealthy one. I feel like on the outside of this dynamic, everything looks perfect. Like, I feel like I just keep saying you have like the perfect, like, cookie cutter house. You have like the perfect looking relationship. And I think that's why sometimes when you brought this up to other people about maybe thinking something wasn't right, they've shut you down because I think they just don't see the truth and what really happens on the inside, like behind closed doors. And it's really time to shine a light there. Like it's so time for you to get out of this. I think you're just so done. I almost want to say like I think some of you are like, what else do I have to lose? Well, what is the harm in getting out of this relationship if you feel that way? If you have nothing else to lose, just try getting out of this dynamic, this relationship. Because I just think instantly it's going to change so much. Just do not forget you're not alone. You're not alone. You are so needed. You are so valued. And if you don't feel that way, the angels are saying you matter to them. They love you. They want to help you. They want to support you. If you feel you have no one, then think again. And they're there. They're so desperate for you to see them. They care so much. I just feel like I see them everywhere, but I see that your head's always in the other direction. It's almost like they're so loving, maybe you can't see that. Like it's just too hard for you to see that there could be that much love out there directed at you. Yeah, sorry, I just keep thinking, I'm like, is there any other messages here? I think this message is so important that it's just overridden any other energy here in this file. They think I'm just gonna leave it with this few very specific people who are getting this message. I also feel like it's so unfinished, like I don't want to just leave the reading here. But I don't really have any other messages other than just they keep reiterating that it's time, like you feel so stuck and caged and locked in. It's time for you to stop feeling that way and get out. I feel like you guys just still have your whole life to live. You have your whole life to live, and it's never gonna feel this dark again. Even dealing with the healing after, nothing will ever feel as lonely and imprisoning as where you are right now. You only have up to go. That feels so important to say. Mm. And then at the end of all this, they're saying, like, if you want to work with candlelight and release writing, then that's okay. But I don't know what it is. That there's just like this weird thing with fire that I don't have any details on, but I just feel like will mean something to someone, so I have to keep saying it. Do release writing with candlelight once you've left the situation. If that resonates, there's just some, they're like worried about your feelings towards what you are being tempted to do with this fire. Um, that won't be beneficial in the long run, and it's really not what the angels want for you. They're almost like horrified because they just, yeah, they just want what's best for you, and they know you're gonna be such a light beam in this world, and they want you to make sure you get out of the situation so you can see why they see all this for you, because it's just around the corner, but you haven't been able to see around it because you're just in this survival mode right now. Yeah. Okay, and then your homework, guys, is to look up the spiritual meaning of the number 49. Don't know what the numbers all mean off the top of my head, but I feel like 49 is really important. And they really want you to know whatever it means. Okay. Oh, I feel so bad leaving you guys here, but just remember, you're not alone. This is gonna end. And when you come out of this, it's basically gonna be like a new life, a new lifetime for you. Yeah, look for the signs. The angels are sending you a lot, okay? Through numbers, through animals. Just go every time and look up the spiritual meaning. And don't forget, it's if you see a chance to get out of this situation and into a better situation that doesn't involve harming you or self or others, take it. This lifetime is meant to bring you abundance and everything that you've ever dreamed for. It's still possible in this life. They're just saying, do not lose hope. This cycle is coming to the end. It's like fated to. It's not gonna go on any longer. It's time for you to take action and take your power back and get out. Okay. Guys, stay safe, okay? And I didn't see any direct reading around this. This is coming from my own personal ego. I'm saying there's a lot of ways to get help out there now. Like, don't take on the world on your own. Like, reach out before something gets too much to handle, because I think you guys are really on the cuffs there, and I don't want to see you guys basically be gone before you get even to enjoy life. Like, you deserve to. Yeah. Be like, you guys are gonna make me cry. It's actually never happened during reading. I just feel so bad for you, and I just want you to know that you're so loved. Do not give up. There's so much better coming your way, okay? I'm not just saying that. It's literally in the cards. It's like fated, okay? Get yourself out of this situation. Do not forget that there's so many resources out there to help you. And if you can't find them, for some reason your situation just seems to be the one in a billion exceptions, the angels are saying they are right there for you, okay? They're right there. They want to help you, and they're going to give you an opportunity to get out. That doesn't involve hurting anyone. Okay? All right. You guys, you're going to be okay. All right? You're going to go into a time that's so much better than this. It's going to happen for you. You do deserve it. It's on its way. Toby. Hi, Toby. Hello, pile 3. All right, we're just going to get right into it. Okay, pile 3. What I'm getting is that you guys might have a bit of a fear around relationships and new, deep, vulnerable connections and partnerships. But I think it also could extend to friendships for some of you. I think you have a habit of over analyzing situations and intentions of others. I think all this stems from the inner child wounding. That's why it's coming up in this reading. I think a lot of you had childhoods where you were emotionally abused or even bullied as a child, and all these words were very harmful, and I almost feel like they've circled in your head a lot, and it's kind of brought you to this situation now where I think other things have happened, but this is impacting your trust around others a lot. And what you can do about that is I'm actually feeling really called to tell you to clear your ear chakras. Uh, so normally we use a different angel for this, but I feel like Archangel Haniel is going to be a good one where you just have to close your eyes, breathe deeply 4 times, and then call on Archangel Haniel to please clear your ear chakras. Usually it's Archangel Jophiel, but I feel like Haniel's really good for you. She helps us accept the different cycles of life and bring in more joy. And I just feel like that's really something that your inner child is wanting from you right now. Anyways, back on the other note. Uh, sorry, I already can tell this reading's gonna jump around all over the place. I want to address the physical touch card here. I think there's a few meanings here. I think one, it could just be that your love language is physical touch. If you've ever heard of that, there's like 5 love languages. And then the other thing I'm getting from this card is I think you guys might have withdrawn yourselves from having deeper connections or romantic connections, and due to like past wounding or injuries sustained from these types of relationships. And every human, just on a very primal human instinct, needs physical touch, and it can be anything from like a friendly hug to supportive hand on your shoulder. Like it doesn't have to be sexual. It's not a sexual need. Truly feels like just like the human body craves closeness and connection. We're very packed animals. We're not solo animals. And it's like we need that like loving, caring touch. And like I feel like I keep having to say it doesn't need to be sexual. It's just like that connection does something for us that our bodies just fundamentally crave and need. And maybe just to be aware of that. Like it doesn't have to be a sexual thing. Like maybe you cringe away from anyone touching you in any way, but I'm sure you have a friendship or someone where it doesn't feel sexual at all. It's just a very supportive friend thing. I think they're saying maybe to realize that it's important to be a little more open to that, just so that your body is getting this need met that it's desperately craving. The inner child note, your inner child wants you to, I should say, it wants to speak to you through you reconnecting with it. And by how they want you to do that is by sitting and meditating quietly and just reconnecting with what makes you happy and holding space for yourself to feel. It's like your inner child wants you to become more in touch with your intuition. And I feel like some of you are like, what does that mean? It's just meaning if you're doing meditation or you're just sitting there, you close your eyes and you just see what comes up, or you ask yourself what would make you happy and just hold space to see what comes up. It sounds very strange, but when you try it, I think you'll see what I mean. Like, try to clear your mind and just see what feeling, thought, what you feel in your body. And then, as another message here, the angels are asking you to shift your mindset to a more positive, abundant one. What that could look like is asking yourself what brings you joy right now, what makes you happy, focusing on that and what is working. And like to accept your situation. I'm not sure what specifically your situation is for you, but they're saying where you're, it's important for you to accept where you're currently at. And it's because I feel like you're trying to like get control over what you do have, what you think you should have. There's a lot of thinking like this is what I should be. This is what I thought I should have by now, or this is what most people would expect me to have by now. Things like that they're saying kind of blocks off what can come in, but accepting where you are doesn't mean you're settling. It just means you're like, okay, like say if you're single right now and you don't want to be, it would be saying accepting that you're single, being like, okay, maybe I want to be in a partnership, but my reality right now is that I'm single. So what can I do right now that makes me happy or brings me joy, instead of being like I have to go get a guy, I need one, I need one, I need one, instead of bringing in like a like soulmate, someone who is going to be that connection we desire. We would just be bringing in anything because we'd have such a desperate energy to it, like we have to have this or else we have failed or something like that. It comes from like a grosser place than being like I'm happy with myself. What are the things that I can enjoy right now that make me happy that maybe I can't enjoy when I'm in a partnership, like having the freedom or not having to have another person to worry about for, say, going out with your friends. And uh like it's not that you can't do those things in partnership, but if we think about it, usually we want to spend time and focus on that partnership, that we don't see our friends as much as we do when we're, say, single. Or maybe you really appreciate meditating in a quiet house. might not be able to do that in a partnership. It's just like small things like that. Those are all just random examples, but I hope that like clarifies a little bit more what I'm saying. It's not settling, it's just like taking advantage and going in the energy of like, well, what can I do right now that makes me happy? And it doesn't involve trying really hard to do anything to get this other thing that you want in. I mean, it is important to take steps that guide you to your goals, but I feel like with stuff like finding your divine soulmate, you're not gonna find them 100% on your own. Like the universe is gonna bring them to you, but not if you're just like trying to create the one way they can come in. You like block off all those other ways that the universe is trying to get them into your life. It's a little bit of a rant, but I hope that made sense. Okay. I do want to get back to the ear chakra thing and the harmful words you might have heard in your life. So I do feel like, yeah, like a lot of you, there was a lot of hurtful words said to you in your childhood, and it has continued and followed you into your adulthood. And asking that Archangel Haniel to clear your ear chakras, and to break any negative thought cycles that you have, which have just come as a result of these negative words being told to you for so many years. It's totally natural. You're not doing anything wrong. That's just one of those things that happen. But yeah, I think a lot of you are aware of the fact that you were mistreated or even abused or bullied as a child or even a teenager. And I think right now you're in a stage where you're trying to heal from it and let it go. Like, let go of the emotional and mental toll it has on you, or it's like draining from you, or the focus it takes up of you, if that makes sense. And I think the angels are just really saying it is a really good time. You are you're going to be letting go and then forgiving this. And it doesn't mean you're forgiving the person's actions and justifying them. It just means you're freeing yourself of being stuck in the past and in the pain of your past. I don't know if that quite makes sense to everyone, but it's almost like think about how much energy and how often you can get pulled back into thinking about it. It's really taking away from your presence now. And it's important to feel and grieve emotions and release them. But there's a point where they take up too much of our present day time, like the now time of our lives. So they're just saying, finding forgiveness, like even maybe forgiving yourself for being stuck on it, or forgiving yourself for not standing up for things, like anything around that, um, is going to free up a lot of your energy that's kind of stuck on this. I do feel like for a lot of you, you feel like you have lost a parent. It could be because of this abuse, or I think some of you literally have recently had a parent pass away. Yeah, which is tricky. I think it's just like triggering a lot of this past wounding, and that could be why you're really stuck in your thoughts around this. Um, and maybe why you're feeling more alienated, I think, from the rest of the community or the rest of the world or the people around you. The advice around that. So I don't know if this is really going to make you feel that much better hearing this. I always feel weird having to tell people certain messages like this, where like it's very sad and it's very unfortunate that this has happened to you. But the angel's message to you around this is try to focus. I think that's where the theme of this one comes from, on how you can be of service today. And it's not to forget your feelings, they're not saying that at all, but it's almost like to find the positive in the day. They say, like, when you shift your mind and you ask yourself, how can I be of service today? It's going to get you focusing on the good you can do now and help other people with. And then also, when you do help people and are of service to other people, it does just make you feel good. And it's not saying to not acknowledge any emotions. I just really want to reiterate that. It's just saying sometimes we need to feel a little bit of the light when we're going through the darkness. We can't just always be processing really negative emotions. Sometimes we need to shift our focus to more positive things. So, that being said, I do really want to read this card. It says, in a world lacking soul to soul connections, small and simple acts are what create the biggest and most lasting impacts. We shift our own pain and experience an avalanche of love when we lose ourselves in the service of others. Who needs you today? So, soul action says, listen to your heart. Who needs you? Make one soulful connection today and give solely to spread more love, expecting nothing in return. Notice the joy that you feel when you serve others. I actually even think this could be applicable to you guys in your inner child. And just even, I know that might sound very strange, but even sitting with yourself, listening to your heart, and asking, what does your inner child, what does your body need from you? And I know that seems very strange to do, but I think it's going to help with this pain and this confusion and this hurt. Yeah, because I feel like in some ways it just needs to process itself out a little bit, get a little bit released. Um, sorry, it's like this card really wanted me to talk about at the start. It says, take a chance on love. When we love, our lives are changed forever. I kind of read this as trying to be open to going on this wild ride where you're vulnerable with someone and trust them. Um, but I see that there's so much fear for you in doing a thing like that. And I think there is definitely a few different energies here. For some of you, it could be because of the pain a parent has caused you. It could be from losing that parent. That pain was really tremendous and not wanting to lose love like that again. Or it could be just in the distress because the parent was the abuser and not very kind. Both very hard situations. But I think they're saying, like, what is life without love? I think there's so many quotes around that. Like, I feel like they're going to trust you. If you guys are open, sorry, this seems really random, but I was just thinking, if you guys are open to working with angels, you should call an archangel. I think Zadkiel, I hope I'm saying that right, Zadkiel and Shamuel, both of them together, because one kind of breaks unhealthy cycles and I think generational cycles. And then Shamuel brings in your divine aligned partnerships, friends, career. And I think the two together are going to work really nicely for you guys, because I think if a lot of you, there's like some ancestral cycles that you're here to kind of break. And then Shamuel is going to make sure you're calling in the right person, so you know they're safe to trust and you don't need to worry so much about their intentions and what they're saying and if they're really doing what they say they're doing and all that stuff. I feel like you've thought about all those things a lot. I do want to read these crystal cards. So it's interesting. Some of them I've realized have come up as just they come up on the backside as affirmations, and then some of them have been showing the crystals. So if you're open to getting any of these crystals, I think Black Obsidian would be a really good one for you guys. It really helps with clearing blocks. And These are all ones that aren't too particularly expensive because they're pretty common. So if you wanted to keep a piece around you or a bracelet or earrings or something, I think it wouldn't hurt. Have you been feeling scattered lately? Are you unable to focus on what's important? Look at all that is going on around you. Prioritize your intentions, focus on one thing at a time. Ground yourself so that you can accomplish your goals. So yeah, black is anything really important because I did forget to mention it is grounding. But not only that, it helps clear our blocks and our kind of, I don't want to say traumas. There are other things you do have to do, but it helps shift things so that they're easier to deal with. So I think that one would be really good. They also help us, like obsidian and tourmaline are very similar, but obsidian kind of helps bring things to the surface, where tourmaline kind of just clears everything. So I think obsidian could be good because I think there are some things that need to become aware to you in that are kind of hiding in the shadows. Mm. So, pirate, are you worried about money? Are you willing to accept prosperity into your life? You can earn unlimited income doing what you love to do. Use your skills, follow your dreams, have confidence, believe in yourself and your ability to be successful. I think the main one, if you're like, it didn't totally resonate, I actually think the main message here is just like having confidence and believing in yourself and that you're capable and follow your dreams. 'Cause I feel like all those things are kind of what you were told you couldn't do when you were younger. And Apache tears. Sorry, Apache tears. Are you grieving the loss of someone or something? Feel the grief and allow yourself to cry. Release the toxins from your body, mind, and emotional being. Comfort and peace are close at hand. Focus your attention on your desired outcomes. And I actually do want to read the affirmation for this for you guys. So affirmations, the idea is that if you say it, it kind of helps your mind shift to that. I allow myself to feel my feelings and express them through my physical and mental actions. Tears flow easily, and I am releasing pent up emotions. I am able to let go. I am comforted. I am at peace. I think this one is very important. So, if you have the ability to screenshot it or write it down, I would really recommend that. It's just like I really believe in affirmations because I realize that a lot of us don't realize how often we say negative, like very negatively charged emotions in our subconscious or in our thoughts. And I think when we just counteract that with a very intentional, positive thought, it just can shift so much for us. And we don't realize how often we need to give ourselves permission to feel things, release things, let go of things, cry. And I really feel like this really hit the nail on the head here for you guys with this one. Okay, I'm just going to read this too. Sorry, I'm just reading them all. So it says, spend time alone in nature, meditating about your desires and intentions. Ask the angels to help you gain a positive perspective. So it just goes back to the other thing where I was saying, where I think your inner child is really wanting you to reconnect with it and just do that by finding out or remembering what makes you happy. What can you do in this moment with your current situation that will make you the happiest and not trying to fight so hard on some things. Like sorry, the best thing I can think of is like with the partnership relationship because I know that's the most common one I see where people are always trying to make any guy like their soulmate and they're just it's like the harder they try to make someone like that or bring in that person and control how that person comes in or who that person is, the further we get away from it and just like accepting that we are single but we can still be happy and there's so much we can do and have fun with, it just changes that energy so much. going out and like swiping on Tinder all the time, not even being there with their friends because they're so busy just trying to find that person that they're not even there. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be specifically about a relationship for you guys, but it's just kind of like if you can see that difference in energy or in perspective, and that's all it is different perspective. It just changes everything. What I am getting from this reading is that although it's hard right now, like what's coming ahead is good. It's all very good. It's a lot more joyful, it's a lot less tiring, it's a lot more fulfilling. And I really should stress that because I'm not sure if I actually did ever say that out loud. Um, but yeah, what's coming is better than where you've been. And that's always really good to know. It gives us more hope. Yeah, I do see lots of transformation coming your way. And I do think, although it might be scary for some of you, that there is a soulmate that's trying to come in. And I do feel like there's a lot of fear there, but although there might be a lot of obstacles, you're going to find your path and it's going to be smooth sailing from there. I hope that my examples made sense. I gave a lot of examples during this one. So you guys have a good one and hopefully see you around.
Welcome back, guys. I hope you enjoyed your readings. I just wanted to take this time to let you know that I really appreciate it if you leave a like or a comment just so I know that it's resonating with you and it's helping somebody out there. And if you want, you can always follow me on Instagram or Facebook. I do a post a week just about some like fun, extra additional spiritual information. Honestly, it's all about all sorts of different topics. So yeah, check it out if you're interested. And if not, yeah, I hope you guys have a good day.
Hello, pile 4. Okay, we're going to get right into it. Okay, pile 4, right away, I'm kind of getting the impression that this group is more of a reading for people who are in their 30s to 50s age range. I just see this group as an older, more mature group than some of the other piles I've read for already. And the theme around this inner child message, I believe, is finding your way back to yourself. And I actually think in this pile, most of you have gone and done the deeper work before and connected with your inner child. But right now, you're just in a place where you are starting to feel a bit disconnected again. I think a lot of you could be parents as of the current moment in time. And I feel like you all are very happy to be parents. And that could even be why there's a bit of disconnection between you and your inner child. I almost feel like you may have gotten caught up in taking care of your children and trying to fix their problems and worrying about them all the time. Of some sensory overload where there's too much coming at you too fast and you just need to decrease your stimulation level, take a break from people, be in like dimmer lighting, candle lighting I think would be very good. Be in more just quiet environments. I think you guys would really benefit from Epsom salt baths with essential oils, your like favorite ones. I think that really helps calm you and gives you a space where you will get the privacy you want, where you like lock the door, don't let your kids just like come running in if they're younger. I don't see anything here saying that you're being a bad parent by any means, but it's just your inner child is like wanting you to focus a little more on you and remember that you have needs too. And when your needs are being met and your inner child is being taken care of and heard and being held space for it, you're able to be a better parent yourself. So there's just definitely a message saying it really wants you to honor your inner child, focus on your inner child's needs. And I think for you guys, your inner child needs more playtime, like more things that are fun, laughing a little bit more, and holding space for its fears. And I think sometimes you guys can have a habit of being a little bit hard on yourselves. Like, I think you guys might have really strong, what are they called? Critics in your head, where I think you're very kind to other people and very sensitive to other people, but I think you can have a habit of having a little voice in your head saying that you're not doing enough, you're not being enough, that you're too sensitive, and you just need to kind of suck it up. And every time you have these thoughts, that your inner child's just wanting you to take the time to say these thoughts are not true, and focus on how much you're doing instead. And what I mean by that is just saying, like, wow, you've really helped this person out a lot. You've done the laundry, you've cleaned the house, you've gone to work, you packed lunches, you've like really done it all. And instead of focusing on maybe what you didn't do to the level of perfection that you think you should have to do it at, just focus more on how much amazing things you have done and provided for these people. And I do think it's like children or a significant other, or even get like an elderly parent. And then that being said, just thinking about how much you guys are kind of helping other people and trying to fix their problems and help them out with their situations. They are saying you can't live everyone else's life for them. And it's not that you're trying to intentionally, it's almost like you just want to make life so much easier for them because you have so much love for them, that you're almost taking away their ability to learn how to do these things for themselves and experience these things for themselves. So it's not that you can't ever help, but they're saying maybe sometimes you help a little too much, and these people need to learn their own independence. This message might not fit with everyone, but maybe it's just something to consider because it is a message that is coming up. Another message is to take more time, to take a break and spend time in nature. I feel like you guys would do good in really lush green forests, like on a nice dirt trail, or being near water like the ocean or a river. I feel like if some of you have cabins or things like that you like to go to, or places that feel like a cabin place where there's not a lot of people, it's just very calm, there's lots of water. I think that is like a sign that it's okay for you to go take time to go there. You deserve it. Or that noise in the background would be my cat playing with his favorite toy, which is a bell inside of a ball, and he only ever seems to pull it out whenever I try to do a card reading. So please try to ignore the sound, if you can hear it, of the ringing. I do feel like this pile would benefit a lot from doing like yoga or other forms of meditation, even if it's just like watching a guided meditation or doing your own meditation. I think you guys have had a practice like that before, and it's just kind of wanting to remind you that it really was good for you, was very beneficial. You were way more connected to your intuition and to your like true soul desires when you were making that connection more regularly. And obviously, life does get busy and things happen, but I think it's just saying, hey, if you could find time or make time, even if it's only 5 minutes a day to do this, it's really going to help. It's interesting because for an inner child reading, I feel like there is a lot of focus on the other people in your life. So it does just keep reiterating to me that you're very nurturing, you're very caretaking, and that you do think a lot about the people in your life, but kind of forget about yourself. And I keep seeing this have faith card. Trust your faith in the situation. So you might be struggling through something right now. I don't get a specific situation. They're not telling me that, but they're just saying reconnecting with your inner self is really going to transform that situation and bring more clarity to it. And I think it might even shift your perspective that you've had on it. And that could look like coming to a solution that feels good for you and everyone in the situation. Or it could even look like releasing some old emotions or beliefs that were making this situation hard. Yeah, I hope that makes sense because I feel like they're saying it doesn't matter the exact situation, it's different for everyone, but it's some kind of dynamic around that. Yeah, and then definitely just a little message to really value your inner child and look at it with compassion and gentleness. And I feel like it's like calling for you to be proud of it and how far it's come, like you would like a child, like any other child in this reality or in your life, where I think you're very gentle and you hold a lot of space for them. They're just saying your inner child could use a little bit more of that. It needs to know that it's safe and protected by you. And it doesn't mean it's almost like I think a habit that comes out for inner children or inner child is often that it will try to protect itself by using its old security systems, safety systems that usually don't align with us as the adult version of ourselves. And I think that's just what it's saying around it's wanting to know that's protected by you and safe, is that way it won't keep popping up and kind of confusing you in situations. Like I feel like sometimes you guys are like, what? Why am I acting like this? Why am I responding like this? I don't feel like this. Why is my words not aligning with my thoughts? And I think it's just this inner child popping up and trying to protect you, but in the only way that it knows, which is like the underdeveloped young child way. And I have to say, I keep wanting to look at the number 43. I would recommend looking up what does angel number 43 mean. I know that in general it means introspection, which really resonates with the inner child reading, but I think there could be some very specific words that you could benefit from reading them. So I would look up the angel, the angelic number 43 versus just the spiritual meaning of number 43. And I do want to read this card now. So, the theme of the whole reading, where it says, how can I be more kind to myself and offer more grace in this very moment? And its advice is, growing our self love is medicine to this world's broken heart. When you heal, we all heal. When you give yourself more grace, you're able to give the world more grace. So, today's soul action or action you can take to help with this is look at yourself with a grace filter. Sorry, I couldn't read that word. It was written really fancy. So let me just restart. Uh, Look at yourself with a grace filter. You are meant to be in this moment of your life. Release the inner critic and fill in the hole with your soul's truth that you are infinite, you are loved, and you are already there. Yeah, so that's interesting. It also mentions the inner critic. I think that might just be a part of being a human, but it's calling for you at this time in your life to kind of address that a little bit more. I feel like as I'm saying that, some of you might think like I've already worked and I've gone so far, but maybe just try to look at the few other ways where you might be a little more harsh with yourself than you would be with someone else. And I think just even starting to realize that, you're going to catch yourself. And when you do, just say, course correct, say clear, cancel, delete that thought, and like change it to a more positive one. Like, I am doing my best and my best is good enough, or some affirmation around that. I would just pick maybe one that is pretty direct and not super long, because I feel like you might catch yourself on a lot of small things and you're not going to want to say like this 50 worded thing. So maybe, yeah, I feel like I might have skipped a step there, but what I'm trying to say is it'd be really good to have an affirmation that you already have that really resonates with you. And so taking the time to maybe find one. I'm pretty sure at this point, if you Google, if you look up common, or doesn't even have to be common, but affirmations around being worthy or being good enough, you should get a bunch and just pick whichever one resonates with you. And then every time you catch yourself being overly critical or not as nice as you would be to someone else, that's how I'm going to phrase it. Like, if you notice that you're saying something that you would never say to a child, you don't deserve to be talked to like that either. So you're just going to state the affirmation after, and we're going to balance out that negativity, that critical side with a higher, more loving, powerful side. And I think it's going to be a game changer. I think you're going to start not being as critical over time, because you're going to have the awareness that you're watching out for that. Desires when you were making that connection more regularly. And obviously life does get busy and things happen, but I think it's just saying, hey, if you could find time or make time, even if it's only 5 minutes a day to do this, it's really going to help. It's interesting because for an inner child reading, I feel like there is a lot of focus on the other people in your life. So it does just keep reiterating to me that you're very nurturing, you're very caretaking, and that you do think a lot about the people in your life, but kind of forget about yourself. And I keep seeing this have faith card. Trust your faith in the situation. So you might be struggling through something right now. I don't get a specific situation. They're not telling me that, but they're just saying reconnecting with your inner self is really going to transform that situation and bring more clarity to it. And I think it might even shift your perspective that you've had on it. And that could look like coming to a solution that feels good for you and everyone in the situation. Or it could even look like releasing some old emotions or beliefs that were making this situation hard. Yeah, I hope that makes sense, because I feel like they're saying it doesn't matter the exact situation, it's different for everyone, but it's some kind of dynamic around that. Yeah, and then definitely just a little message to really value your inner child and look at it with compassion and gentleness. And I feel like it's like calling for you to be proud of it and how far it's come, like you would like a child, like any other child in this reality or in your life, where I think you're very gentle and you hold a lot of space for them. They're just saying your inner child could use a little bit more of that. Needs to know that it's safe and protected by you. And it doesn't mean it's almost like, I think, a habit that comes out for inner children or inner child is often that it will try to protect itself by using its old security systems, safety systems that usually don't align with us as the adult version of ourselves. And I think that's just what it's saying around it's wanting to know that's protected by you and safe, is that way it won't keep popping up and kind of confusing you in situations. Like I feel like sometimes you guys are like, what? Why am I acting like this? Why am I responding like this? I don't feel like this. Why is my words not aligning with my thoughts? And I think it's just this inner child popping up and trying to protect you, but in the only way that it knows, which is like the underdeveloped young child way. And I'm going to say, I keep wanting to look at the number 43. I would recommend looking up the what does angel number 43 mean? I know that in general it means introspection, which really resonates with the inner child reading, but I think there could be some very specific words that you could benefit from reading them. So I would look up the angel, the angelic number 43 versus just the spiritual meaning of number 43. Hard now. So the theme of the whole reading, where it says, how can I be more kind to myself and offer more grace in this very moment? And its advice is, growing our self-love is medicine to this world's broken heart. When you heal, we all heal. When you give yourself more grace, you're able to give the world more grace. So today's soul action, or action you can take to help with this, is look at yourself with a grace filter. Sorry, I couldn't read that word. It was written really fancy. So let me just restart. Look at yourself with a grace filter. You are meant to be in this moment of your life. Release the inner critic and fill in the hole with your soul's truth that you are infinite, you are loved, and you are already there. Yeah, so that's interesting. It also mentions the inner critic. I think that might just be a part of being a human, but it's calling for you at this time in your life to kind of address that a little bit more. I feel like as I'm saying that, some of you might think like I've already worked and I've gone so far, but maybe just try to look at the few other ways where you might be a little more harsh with yourself than you would be with someone else. And I think just even starting to realize that, you're going to catch yourself. And when you do, just say, course correct, say clear, cancel, delete that thought, and like change it to a more positive one. Like, I am doing my best and my best is good enough, or some affirmation around that. I would just pick maybe one that is pretty direct and not super long, because I feel like you might catch yourself on a lot of small things and you're not going to want to say like this 50 worded thing. So maybe, yeah, I feel like I might have skipped a step there, but what I'm trying to say is it'd be really good to have an affirmation that you already have that really resonates with you. And so taking the time to maybe find one. I'm pretty sure at this point, if you Google,
I can't connect to the Wi-Fi network. You might want to check the connection settings in the Google Home app.
sorry, she's creepy. She's very creepy. She's always talking to me. If you Google, I was waiting for her to talk to me again. Wow, I'm really distracted now. If you look up common, or doesn't even have to be common, but affirmations around being worthy or being good enough, you should get a bunch and just pick whichever one resonates with you. And then every time you catch yourself being overly critical or not as nice as you would be to someone else, that's how I'm going to phrase it. Like, if you notice that you're saying something that you would never say to a child, you don't deserve to be talked to like that either. So you're just going to state that affirmation after, and we're going to balance out that negativity, that critical side with a higher, more loving, powerful side. And I think it's going to be a game changer. I think you're going to start not being as critical over time, because you're going to have the awareness that you're watching out for that. There is a lot of cards here talking about having hope for your future and that this situation is going to pass. So I am sorry, it is a general reading. I can't always get the specific situation in these kind of readings. But whatever it is, all these cards are affirming that things are changing for the better and good is coming in. It's at the end of this lower negative cycle that you've been stuck in or felt like has gone on too long. Like this card here, Crystal, have faith and hope, because there is something positive and new on the horizon that you can't yet see. And I feel like you're going to get there by just course correcting a little bit with this reconnection with inner child. I really feel like you guys are quite good at this. Once you have it in your awareness and you start focusing on something, I feel like you guys know how to get things done. It's like the energy I keep getting is like, you're definitely like, we'll figure it out. We got to get her done. And that could be even why you kind of forget about the inner child work, is because you're like, okay, we got it. We did it. Now let's move on to the next thing. We got to help this person with this thing. And now you're just being reminded that this really helped you when you were staying in touch with yourself. And there's just so much more to do still, because our inner child work, I think, unfortunately, is a life journey, but it gets easier and easier. Okay, I want to read this card. So this is an affirmation. It says, Angel of Well-being. I consistently maintain a balanced and joyful outlook on life. I am so grateful for an inner sense of well-being. I easily center my attention on the people, places, and things that bring me happiness. That's really good. Changing focus, listening to our intuition. I really like that one. And green moss agate. So funny enough, just because I keep seeing this crystal, I'm like, if you're open to getting crystals, I think that would resonate with you guys. This says green moss agate, but I feel like you guys would do good with a white crystal, like clear quartz or some version of clear quartz, like smoky quartz could be really good. It grounds you and pulls some negative thoughts out of your head. I could also see, like, I know there's aurora borealis crystals. Sorry, I always try to make sure I say that word right. Or any kind of like, trying to remember the word right now. I think they're called aurora quartz. It's basically like they are man like made. They do alter the crystal, but they have like a more shininess to them, and they're like, they have like metal properties of them. I think something around that. I don't know why I can't remember the words right now, but I feel like something like that would be really great. But at the base, it was normally like a clear quartz crystal, but then it's been modified to have this rainbow sheen on it. That feels good for you guys. I think it's also because I see a lot of like those kind of colors in these cards, and I feel like it would be really good to have a crystal that color too. It could also just be moonstone or opalite too. Those are, I'm in some ways also picturing those. Okay, so this card is saying, are you a nature lover? Do you like to garden? Spend more time connecting with Mother Earth. Put your hands in the soil and your bare feet in the grass. Investigate the use of nature's pharmacy, such as herbs, aromatherapy for general health and well-being. Uh, Quality time in nature every day. So I do really think that's good for you, because I've gotten a lot of things around you guys doing better in nature. I do keep seeing the bath thing come up. Sorry if you don't love baths, but I feel like it will make you sit there and take time for yourself, and that is so important. I really feel like Epsom salts, and I'm kind of getting torn between, I want to say, like, if you've ever wanted to put rose petals in a bath, to do that, like pink rose petals to help with self love and opening up yourself to receiving and reconnecting to your inner child. Or if you just want to go with the essential oil way, I think you can get rose essential oil. And I would debate between cedar and pine. Those are also really great for the heart. And the Epsom salts is going to clear you both physically and energetically. And I don't know, it just, I feel like they really like that idea here. The angels are really like, yes, yes, this is going to be great for them. Oh, they love it. So take what you want and leave the rest, as always. But they seem pretty excited about that, and some form of like pink flower being in the bath with you. So whether that's literally like the petals or just on the essential oil level, which I mean is way more practical, but there's something really, I think someone else you would go and do all the small details like that, like getting real flowers and maybe even a fancy bath bomb or soap bubbles. And they're just kind of saying, if you do it for someone else, you're worth doing it for too. So I think that's might be why they really like the idea of having actual flower petals in there, because they like it and they like that you would be really showing yourself that you are important too. Yeah, I wish I knew what this situation was, but there is just, yeah, victory. Your desire is coming in fruition. Keep up the good work. Trust your faith in the situation. You're stronger than you realize. Find out what is important to those you love and act on it. I don't know, once again, what the situation is, but everything is saying trust yourself, reconnect with your intuition, and you'll get there. I also feel like if you guys are drawn to working with angels, Archangel Metatron is coming through here a lot. Asking him to clear your chakras and your aura. If you see a lot of geometrical shapes a lot of the time, or rainbows, it's a sign from him. He works with all the chakras. That's why he's represented by rainbows, to clear them all out for you. And I think that's going to really help you guys feel more balanced and aligned as well. And then following that by asking Archangel Michael to shield you with his divine light. And if you feel called to picking like a certain color or doing something different, go for it. But I feel like right now I'm just seeing it's important just to call on those two angels to clear your chakras for you and to shield you. I think that's going to help, because I feel like you guys are a little bit of empaths here, or just very intuitive people. And just by nature, those people seem to pick up a lot of other people's energies, and they can get stuck a little bit there or confused as your own. So I think the clearing is going to help a lot with that. I also feel like if you guys have I keep wanting to say like a necklace or pendant or an amulet, whatever words resonates with you, like a crystal necklace could also be it, or an evil eye, something like that, to wear it. I hope that makes sense. They're like, you already have this thing. Maybe it's time to bring it out and remember why you used to wear it all the time. It makes you feel better. And then I'm just going to put it as a personal note to remember to clear any jewelry you wear with sage or water, with the intention of removing anyone else's energies or negative energies out of it. And as I was saying that, I feel like someone, this is very specific, but for someone, if you've had someone pass down like a wedding ring to you, or another piece of jewelry that belonged to someone else and they wore it and now it's yours, it's really important to clear things, because when someone's worn something like that so much, they say they're like a little bit of their energies in that, and you might be experiencing some of their life lessons. Meaning, if like their karma or their life lesson was to learn how to be heard more or overcome a certain block, when you're wearing that all the time, sometimes you can attract in that person's lessons, because their energy is just so attached to like a wedding ring, for example. It's always important to clear them. So all you would have to do is, I would say, sage it with the intention of removing their energies from it and not taking on anyone's karmic lessons. Yeah, that's pretty specific, but also maybe just a good thing to know for everyone, because I didn't know that until I got more into energy healing, that it's very important to clear things that are passed down to us secondhand. All right, I think that's all I have for you guys, so I'm gonna let you go here. Right on time. You're gonna have a couple of cats crashing in. All right, well, I hope you have a good day, and I'll hopefully see you around.
Welcome back, guys. I hope you enjoyed your readings. I just wanted to take this time to let you know that I really appreciate it if you leave a like or a comment, just so I know that it's resonating with you and it's helping somebody out there. And if you want, you can always follow me on Instagram or Facebook. I do a post a week just about some like fun, extra additional spiritual information. honestly, it's all about all sorts of different topics. So yeah, check it out if you're interested, and if not, yeah, I hope you guys have a good day.
Hello, Pile 5. All right, let's get right into it. Pile 4, the message that's jumping out at me right away, and does make sense with the theme of this reading being, does my life have room for more pleasure and play? It's almost like I'm seeing that you guys might be having issues with getting things completed or doing things when you should be doing them. I just kind of picture like with work, if you're knowing you should get a project done and this is your time to get it done and you've set aside this time, and maybe the day before you're excited to get working on it, but then in the moment you're not working on it, you're doing anything else, you're procrastinating, and the whole time you're thinking, well, this is what I should be doing, but you're not even doing anything that is that fun for you. Instead, you're just kind of, for some reason, not able to get working on what you should be. What I'm getting from here is that is coming from a lack of doing enough things for fun that you're passionate about. It's almost like your inner child is so bored. They're so bored. They're like, you want me to work right now? Well, I want to have fun every now and then. You're always making me like be quiet, sit in the corner, and just get this work done. And they're just really wanting you to set aside time to just do things for the sake of fun, for having joy. Uh, yeah, always easier said than done, but it's definitely a very strong message coming through. And it's so funny. I just see this letting go of urgency, surrender, freedom of time constraints. I really think that's playing on it, where maybe I feel like at first you were doing really good and you were getting a lot of work done on time, and it was okay to like put such a time crunch on it. But now your inner child's like, okay, like we did that for a while, but I'm done with that. Like I am just so bored here. I need to remember what is exciting about life and what is fun. Yeah, so I think that's all that there is to say around that specifically. I do want to read this card here though after saying all that. So Red Jasper, are you procrastinating? Take action and complete what you have planned. Speak up for yourself, follow through, and take the necessary steps to see your projects to fruition. Have confidence in your own ability to make things happen. And then the affirmation is Angel of Action. I am grounded and focused on the task at hand. I creatively complete projects so that I can enjoy and share the end result. I am motivated to accomplish all that needs to be done. You might want to screenshot that one. I think it's going to help with this, as well as taking time to actually plan out something fun to do. And maybe that's even just taking time to say, okay, on Tuesdays at this time, I'm going to go see my friends. So if I start my work week on Monday, then I know Tuesday I already have time set aside to go see these friends no matter where I am on my projects. I am going to go. And I think maybe that would even help, because I think sometimes you might be like, well, we don't have time for that because we've procrastinated all day, so we're not going to do the fun thing. And you just snowball into this never doing the fun thing. I think this pile also might struggle with feeling grounded. I do see that maybe a lot of the time you literally have your heads in the cloud, or you're like, yeah, like I'm trying to remember the expression. There's something around that. Get your head out of the clouds or something like that. And you think you're just maybe having a lot of thoughts in your head often, and it can get really busy in there. And I think you'd really benefit from meditating, I think is the word I want to say. I see like closing your eyes so you're not so stimulated by what's going on or distracted by the things around you. I would say even putting headphones in and playing meditation music of some sort, whether it's a guided meditation or just say new age music, frequency music that blocks out what's happening around you, and then shut those eyes. And I think it's going to help you gain some clarity on situations that you might get frustrated about, or you might be currently frustrated about. Definitely a lot of signs of grounding. I think for you too, if you go out in nature, it helps you feel more grounded, whether it's just because it clears your head. It definitely does something for this group. Do you think you do have a lot of misunderstandings with people? Um, just on a communication level, I think, and this might not be for everyone, but there's a message here for someone saying, I think sometimes you can overthink things a little bit and you think you know what people are meaning, but you're misunderstanding them. And it could also be, it's not just that you're a bad communicator or something, but it's just what I've seen in the society is that we're all kind of bad at communicating. Not a lot of us ever learned how to speak clearly and directly in a loving way. It's either people speak very directly and it feels really harsh, and it's almost like we don't know that we can just say what we mean in a gentle way that doesn't have to be like, I feel like it's people who always say, you know what I mean? And a lot of times we don't actually know what they mean. We think we know what they mean, but they mean something totally different. I think this happens to you guys a lot. And I think you have an awareness around it, which is why it's coming up. So they're saying if you've ever felt like in those moments you need to ask more questions or approach it with more of a curiosity versus like just going into this is what this person means. It's almost like it's not, I don't want to say you're assuming what they meant, but it's just because of how bad everyone communicates. It gives you the impression that that is exactly what they're saying, but it turns out they just weren't communicating themselves very well. I hope, yeah, I hope that makes sense. It's not really anyone's fault, but the best way to avoid these confusions is to just approach it with more curiosity and keep asking questions and just saying like, oh, okay, are you saying this? Or, and then give them the opportunity to answer. And if they just say the same thing again, just say, I'm not understanding the way you're saying this. Can you use different words for me, please? I really want to hear what you're saying and understand what you mean. And just really coming at it again and again with patience, which might be a bit annoying, but I just feel like it's going to avoid a lot of miscommunications and tensions you could have in conversations with other people. Okay, I don't know if this is super inner child related, but they are saying that sometimes you guys can think that you have to take on the world on your own, or you just have to figure things out on your own, to the point where I don't think you even realize that some of the things you need help with are things you can ask for help with. And I just see that it's on like a few different levels where it could be with a partner, it can be with friends at work, or even I think like asking the universe for help and being open to receiving it. So, not thinking that if you've ever heard the expression, or people always say, you can't get anywhere in life unless you work really hard, that's actually one of the worst limiting belief systems that like people can put on another person. And we don't even realize it because we're trying to be like encouraging and say, you don't have to, don't be lazy, like go after things you want, but we said it in such a limiting way where we're like, if you aren't like exhausted, dying, and almost burnt out, you can't get good things in life. And when you look at it that way, you're like, that is horrible. Like, why would anyone tell someone that? That's not true. So I feel like with you guys, you might have a little bit of that belief system just from maybe your childhood or teenage years where you felt like you had to be in that energy to get out of the situations you were in. But now, as an adult, it's saying, let the universe work with you and ask for help from it. And I really do see like the divine, like God, whatever resonates with you, wants to help provide for you. They see you as like this child that is really needing help and doesn't realize that they just have to ask. Like it's like I feel like you just didn't know that that was something you were allowed to do, that you didn't have to be burnt out to make it anywhere. I hope that makes sense. And where I'm getting that from is just this card here, where it says, "What do you really need? Be willing to accept support." There we go. So I think you guys would really benefit from doing an affirmation around being open to receiving. And I think you should include, "I'm worthy and deserving and willing to accept." Yeah, something around that. Oh, okay, sorry, let me rephrase that. I think you guys should have an affirmation that mentions that you're deserving, worthy, and willing to accept help or love in any positive form. Something around that. Just maybe like do a little search and see what thing around that resonates with you. And now just kind of taking it in a whole nother direction. I feel like you guys should consider getting an office plant, or if you work at home, if you have a desk somewhere, getting a plant to put in there. I think it's going to help you feel more grounded, and it's going to help clear the energy of that room. That being said, try to stick to like tropical plants, big leaf plants. Although I love cactuses and those like cute little pointy plants, they are actually really bad for like the feng shui of a room. Um, they the like negative energies stick to them, where tropical plants or very big green leafed plants clear the energy for you. So I think that's more of the energy you need in your workspace and environment. And just reading this card here, Archangel Gabriel, he is the Archangel of communication and helps us be heard and listen to others and like hear people for what they truly intend and what they truly mean. So calling on him could help with some of these miscommunications. And I feel like if you're like, man, I've worked on my communication skills way more than most people ever do, I think the message here is just saying it's really important in why you're here and in your sole purpose here, whether you're going to use it at work or just if you have a lot of really informative or helpful things to say. It's really important that you almost have like that the highest level of communication, because you just have so many messages to spread to people. So they don't want you to feel like you're being bullied about having a better communication or that you're just not good at talking or anything. They're just saying like it's your lifetime here. The goal basically is to get as close to perfect communication as a human can. Obviously, it's never going to be perfect because we can't control how other people respond to us, but we can just stay curious and keep asking questions until we are on the same page. And they're just saying that is why it's coming up, because what you have to say in this lifetime really needs to be heard. So they want to make sure that they give you all the tools and help you realize how you're being heard or not heard and how to work on that on your side of things. Because then if at least one person has like a higher understanding on how to communicate, it will help with the less I don't know the right word here, the less developed person at communicating to be heard and hear you, and vice versa. Yeah, that was a little bit of a rant about that. I think that's all I have for you guys. I have been, you know what, I didn't even look at red jasper. Oh, right, that's for grounding. So yeah, I would say for crystals, for some reason, I think if you were drawn to blue colored, dark blue colored crystals, go that way. I want to say agate would be a good one for you guys. I don't know why, but I just keep thinking about that word as I've been sitting here. Blue agate, maybe consider having that. I think will help with the communication. I think that's why I keep thinking about it. And red jasper would be really great to have as a stone near a desk or office space where you're trying to work, along with that plant, because I think it's going to just help you be more focused as long as you're also taking time to have fun, listen to that inner child, what they want to do. They want to play more. And to remember you're also like here on this life to have fun. And sometimes I think you guys can take life very seriously and have it very like organized, all the things you have to accomplish, but they're like, hey, gotta have fun here. That's why you're here. That's like the number one reason why you're here is to experience the human life. And then comes all this other stuff that's very important as well. Okay, well, I hope you guys have a good one, and hopefully I see you around.
Welcome back, guys. I hope you enjoyed your readings. I just wanted to take this time to let you know that I really appreciate it if you leave a like or a comment, just so I know that it's resonating with you and it's helping somebody out there. And if you want, you can always follow me on Instagram or Facebook. I do a post a week just about some like fun, extra, additional spiritual information. Honestly, it's all about all sorts of different topics. So yeah, check it out if you're interested, and if not, yeah, I hope you guys have a good day.
Hello, pile 6. Okay, we're gonna get right into it. Okay, pile 6. You want to break this down into 2 separate messages. The do I believe I'm worthy and where can I ask for more help in my life? I'm going to address the do I believe I'm worthy one first. So I believe this is actually calling for, acceptance from you of your masculine and feminine energy within you. And it doesn't matter your gender. I feel like there's a disharmony right now in those 2 energies within you. So it could even be your yin and yang energy. For some of you, could be giving and receiving energy as well. I do think actually the imbalance in the masculine and feminine energy within you, it would be creating imbalances in a lot of other things like giving and receiving. So the message on how to do that, they're saying, is just take the time to see what your body wants from you or needs in that moment. So it says get to know each other, but I think they're literally saying get to know these 2 different energies within you and learn which need each one has. So like the feminine energy is very compassionate and able to hold space and just be, where the masculine energy is kind of the doer energy, the creates a container for the feminine to be able to express itself in a healthy way, where it'd be creative, passionate, like being able to connect with your intuition. And I can't really tell which one is off. I think if anything, you might maybe sometimes go into different phases where you're in one and then you kind of forget about that one and go into the other. But it's just saying, realize that there is strength and sensitivity. There is strength in being compassionate and feeling your emotions. I think due to our societies and maybe your genders, you might have thought that it was weak to feel those ways, but it's not true. When they're both in their healthy states, our minds are clear. We are like the best versions of ourselves we can be, and everything in our body is aligned. I feel like your inner child is maybe craving more of that divine feminine energy from you. I see like a Peter Pan energy here where it never wants to grow up. It thinks adults don't have any fun. And I almost feel like am getting like the expressions or the limiting beliefs around when people are saying you just have to be a man or man up. Like those are said to both genders, and they're equally harmful to both. So I really don't think this is literally a reading for one or the other gender. I think it's literally saying that we all have been impacted by the same words or expressions said to us as children. So they're just saying that your inner child's like really wanting you to approach it with kindness, compassion, and not pressure it to grow up or not be a child, because it is your inner child. It is a younger version of yourself. It can't just be a strong, brave adult like you're kind of wanting it to be. Like I feel like I just keep hearing the words just grow up. Uh, but that's unfortunately not the reality of how our inner child works. So it's saying simple acts of kindness. Kindness energizes you and brings happiness to those around you. And I think doing things that would make your inner child happy, and it just like how that could look or could be expressed is maybe taking 5 minutes a day to like play hacky sack or something like that. Like do things that are kind of fun, but maybe you'd be like, oh, I can't do things like that. That's for children. But actually, I know a lot of adults that play hacky sack still. Things like that, if that resonates with you. Gestures. If your favorite meal was, um, if you like mac and cheese, maybe like once a month you have like mac and cheese, and you're like doing it to honor that side of you. It doesn't mean go and eat candy all the time and all that. It's just saying to do things to show more kindness and compassion and caring and loving to this part of you. Yeah, I feel like you guys have really suppressed a lot of emotions just in your growing up phase and society you're in. I feel like you really didn't feel like it was safe to have emotions or to express emotions. I think you might even have like numbed them out, or it could have been, I think it's more suppression, but there is definitely some numbness that gets involved with that. And it's just saying that you're in a place now as an adult where you can hold space for yourself, or your inner child is asking you to hold space for it. So I think it's like really tapping into that question where it says, do I believe I'm worthy? It's like seeing where in your belief systems and growing up did you gain the limiting belief that you might not be worthy of love or of being seen or worthy of just being you, 100% you, in the emotions that you had, and all that combined in a package. Like I feel like there's some block around that. I'm not quite getting the words right though. It's hard to say. I feel like there's a block there. I can't even see it. I'm just kind of like, it's like you're hiding it pretty good from people. So it's definitely a wall up in your energy that I can't quite get to the root of it, but I'm hoping you guys understand what I'm trying to say. I do really want to talk about this communication block though. I'm wondering if it's with your inner child and just the lack of connection you've felt to it or acknowledgement you've given it, or if it's because of a limiting belief of not being able to ask for help or go to others for support and help that you have this communication block. It could be both those things or different for each person. There's definitely something here. It says, are you holding back something you need to say? Truth about a certain matter needs to be spoken. Honesty is important at this time. Have the courage to speak up with grace. Loving words have the power to heal or improve a situation. So this could be with someone in your life now, or it could also just be with your inner self needing compassion and space held to it. If you ever heard of like inner child healing, a lot of times they say like you have to say sorry or you forgive them, or they didn't do anything wrong. It's almost like you're reparenting yourself the way that you were never parented. And it's pretty amazing the healing that people get from doing work like that. It might make us feel a bit silly as adults to go in and do that, but it has been proven numerous times that it does shift something within us. Then I do want to say it. So this other one here is also talking about communication blocks, and it says, do people listen when you speak? Do you feel like you are not being heard? Know exactly what you wish to communicate. Use telepathy to convey your message through visualizations and in the imagination. Send mental pictures as you speak, heart to heart and mind to mind. So I do think that one is actually more with your inner child. And visualizing, like there's trying to remember the exact word it's called. I think it's like people usually visualize like their younger self sitting in a chair across from them in their minds, and they'll say everything that they need to get off their chest or wanted someone to say or validate to that younger version of them. The more I look more into these cards, the more I really think that your inner self is really wanting that acknowledgement. Okay, and then are you having emotional upsets? Are you able to swallow what's happening in your life? Balance yourself through self nurturing activities. Watch your diet, embrace your emotions, imagine the food you are eating provides all the nutrients necessary for good health. I think that once again is talking about the inner child. If you have random things that come up and they don't feel like it's aligning with who you are now, like it's like a weird fear or a weird thing that you're getting angry about, or if you're getting maybe very upset with people for not understanding what you're trying to communicate, I think it's all saying this is coming from the inner child wounding. And by, I think, doing that, I think it's called the open chair method, I think you're really going to help shift out of this and not feel so trapped in this space, which is probably very frustrating for you to be in. And I imagine you feel a little bit out of control. But it's just one of those things where eventually it comes to surface and we can't ignore it anymore because our inner child is a really big part of us. I do really think it's going to help you reconnect with your intuition and being more aware of your emotions, and it's not being in control of your emotions, but working with them more, where I feel like right now they pop up and you almost feel like they're overruling you. You're just going to be in a nicer harmony where you can feel an emotion, acknowledge it, and release it if it doesn't serve you, or you can also like feel the positives of it, because I feel like there's a lot of emotions that are really good and positive and loving, but if you're trying to discard the negative ones, you're also going to end up discarding some of the good ones, because you can't just choose to only ever feel good and fully feel that if you're not feeling both. And I think that's where the balance thing comes back in, where they're saying you need a balance and understand that there is good with bad, and that's just how it is, but it always equals out and it's always worth it in the end. So I want to talk about the asking for more help one now, where it says, no conditions aren't favorable right now. Wait or look into other options and ask the angels to help guide and comfort you. So I think for some of you, there could be like a situation with a partnership or at work that you've been trying to figure out what's happening there or why there's like a tension there. And they're saying, don't be afraid to ask for guidance from the angels to send you signs on what to do around it, in your intuition. And I think reconnecting with your inner child is going to help bring you clarity on it. I really feel like when you're more attuned with your intuition and your emotions, things are going to make a lot more sense in situations. And I think you're going to be able to handle them with more of a lightheartedness than you've been able to before. And it's just going to bring a lot of like harmony into your relationships. And it's going to bring you more insight. So do you want to talk more about where you're not asking for help? I think that comes with the whole, I really feel like it was something around manning up that has put you in this state. And I think that might also be why you don't think you can ask for help. I think you kind of think like, oh, well, you have to do everything on your own. And if it's the male, it's just because you're a man and men are supposed to like take care of women and have it all figured out. But I also feel with women, if you want to be a more independent woman, they always said that you had to man up, hold back your femininity, don't express your like emotions as much. You have to be almost like this harder surfaced. Like I even feel like sometimes people are like, it's more like you have to be like a bitch. Excuse your language, I just can't think of another word right now. It's like if you're that person, then you get respect. And it's like a really horrible thing to put on people to have to be like that to get respect, because it's just so not them being able to be their authentic self and bring the full value that they can. Okay, so I'm going to read the back of this one because it feels important. It says, the actions you can take today. Today, ask someone for help and receive it with an open heart. Interesting, they give you a mantra because they don't usually. They say, I ask for what I want and I am open to receiving it. I would say that regularly. If you find that you're starting to shut someone down as they're offering you something, say this to yourself. I ask for what I want and I am open to receiving it. Because I think it's just a habit that we don't even realize how many times we turn down people's help or them offering us something because it's just so engraved in us that it's just a no. The answer is just automatically no. So it does say, until we can receive with an open heart, we're never really giving with an open heart. When we attach judgment to receiving help, we knowingly or unknowingly attach judgment to giving help. That's by Brene Brown, who is a great person on vulnerability. You know what? It is interesting that she's here. If she has a couple different podcasts, I think maybe you guys could benefit from that because she's very good at explaining healthy vulnerability and it's okay to have shame and kind of what that looks like. And I do feel like she's really on point with where society failed a lot of us growing up and telling us these silly belief systems that now we're all trying to disregard or recover from. Also, just going to read the back of this one where it says, you are worthy, you are deserving, you are loved. Start seeing the divine beauty within you and go out and claim the life you have dreamt of. Your crown has been bought and paid for. Put it on your head and wear it. Today's action for a big goal or dream you have, ask yourself, do I feel worthy of this? And then tell yourself, I am worthy of it all. You got 2 mantras, so that's really interesting. Only because I've had this deck and I haven't really noticed mantras on them, but that's really good. It just saves you the work of having to go research for them. They're like, hey, look, you just are worthy of it. Tell yourself that. You need to hear that. Encouraging you to see yourself as you are and worthy of love and self-care and being fully accepted in your entirety for all aspects of you. Transforming your perception around that. Explain it. It's almost like I see that you've been this really hard energy, like you've just tried to like lock everything emotional out so that you can be successful by the definitions of what society told you success looked like. And now this gentler side of you is sneaking in, and I think that could be why you even got led here, is saying that it's time to acknowledge that emotional side. And I think for you, you see it as a vulnerable side, but being human and having deep connections and feeling really present is about having vulnerability from time to time. And I think as you work with this and grow with this inner child and supporting it, you're really going to find this really beautiful balance in your life. And I just want to keep saying harmony, like everything is going to be smoother. Your relationships are going to be smoother. You're going to be more open to love. And you're going to come out of this with a lot more wisdom and clarity. You know what? I think that is all the messages I have for you guys. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else that's really jumping out at me, but I hope that was helpful. And just remember to be gentle with yourselves. Being human isn't about being perfect. That's just part of the experience. Okay, well, you guys have a good one, and I'll see you around.
Welcome back, guys. I hope you enjoyed your readings. I just wanted to take this time to let you know that I really appreciate it if you leave a like or a comment, just so I know that it's resonating with you and it's helping somebody out there. And if you want, you can always follow me on Instagram or Facebook. I do a post a week just about some like fun, extra additional spiritual information. Honestly, it's all about all sorts of different topics, so yeah, check it out if you're interested, and if not, yeah, I hope you guys have a good day.